Features of the plan. The expired outline is a two-way investment cooperation document. The initial text involved 89 investment projects in the Russian Far East and Eastern Siberia, and 116 investment projects in Northeast China. During the implementation of the outline, some progress has been made in cross-border infrastructure construction, but the overall implementation effect is far from expected. The main reasons lie in 6 aspects. First, the early evaluation of key regional cooperation projects between China and Russia is insufficient. Most of the projects listed in the outline by the Russian side have not been fully evaluated by local governments and relevant enterprises, while the projects listed by the Chinese side have seriously underestimated the investment capacity of the Russian side. Second, China and Russia attach varying importance to major projects. According to the list of key projects in the outline, only a few of the 89 projects in Russia have been included in the Federal Special Plan for Economic and Social Development in the Far East and Outer Baikal region before 2013 and the Plan for Modernization of Transport Infrastructure, while most of the 116 projects in China have been included in the corresponding national plans. Third, the two sides have different interests in cooperation. The Chinese side is keen on developing transportation and logistics infrastructure in border areas, building new border ports, and modernizing existing ports. It also shows great interest in raw material mining projects, while it lacks interest in the processing industry-based construction projects promoted by the Russian side. Fourth, it is constrained by the shortage of funds from the Russian side. Due to the financial crisis, Western sanctions, and the decline in oil prices in the international market, Russia's budget revenue has decreased, and the financing costs of large companies have increased. Projects that need to be implemented by the Russian side may not be promoted effectively due to insufficient funding or delayed funding. In this context, it is expected that the Russian side will have few extravagant hopes for investment in Chinese projects. Fifth, most projects are not attractive to investors, and the implementation of large-scale projects mainly relies on both central governments and state-owned enterprises promote a. Sixth, the implementation mechanism is incomplete. The outline does not contain an implementation mechanism, but simply states in general that the National Development and Reform Commission of the People's Republic of China and the Ministry of Regional Development of the Russian Federation are responsible for coordinating the implementation of the outline. In response to the poor implementation of the outline, the plan has undergone fundamental adjustments, with the main characteristics as follows. 1. Unidirectional guidance for Chinese enterprises to invest in the Russian Far East. The outline advocates the coordinated development of the Russian Far East and Northeast China, emphasizing two-way interregional investment cooperation, mainly involving the construction and transformation of ports and border infrastructure between China and Russia, regional transportation cooperation, cooperative park construction, labor cooperation, tourism cooperation, regional cultural and cultural cooperation, regional environmental protection cooperation, etc. The plan no longer adheres to the joint development of the Russian Far East, the Eastern Siberian region, and the Northeast China region, but mainly focuses on China's investment in the Russian Far East region. It is no longer a two-way investment cooperation text, but has become a one-way investment guidance document for China in the Russian Far East region. Although the plan inherits several international transportation corridors and China-Russia cross-border projects already implemented under the outline, investment projects in Northeast China have not been included. The plan has a high positioning for China's role in the economic development of the Russian Far East region, stating that China is a key partner for Russia to accelerate the economic development of the Far East region. Such statements are not included in the outline. 2. Detailed classification and strict screening of specific cooperation projects. The key cooperation projects in the outline have not been strictly screened and are mainly divided by province and state. According to the requirements of the Russian Strategic Initiative Agency, investment projects launched in various regions of Russia must undergo complete and strict screening from 2015. Therefore, the plan further refines specific cooperation projects and divides them into 5 categories based on 3 criteria: priority regions, priority areas, and strategic significance, namely, Advanced Development Zone projects, free port projects, priority cooperation area projects, strategic cooperation projects, and infrastructure projects. Among them, the Advanced Development Zone project refers to the investment projects implemented in 12 Advanced Development Zones, mainly including the Amur-Shinganling Advanced Development Zone, Jewish Autonomous Prefecture, Jushur Advanced Development Zone, Coastal Frontier Region, Mountain Air Advanced Development Zone, Sakhalin Prefecture, Kamchatka Advanced Development Zone, Kamchatka Frontier Region, Communist Youth City Advanced Development Zone, Khabarovsk Frontier Region, Mykolaiv Advanced Development Zone, Coastal Frontier Region, Amur River Advanced Development Zone, Amur Prefecture, Free Advanced Development Zone, Amur State, Belogorsk Advanced Development Zone, Amur State, Khabarovsk, Advanced Development Zone, Khabarovsk Border Region, South, Advanced Development Zone, Sakhalin State, South Yakut, Advanced Development Zone, Republic of Sakha, Yakut. The Freeport project is located in the Coastal Border Region, Kamchatka Border Region, Khabarovsk Border Region, and Sakhalin Prefecture. There are a total of 31 priority cooperation projects, including 7 natural gas and petrochemical projects, 11 solid mineral projects, 7 transportation and logistics projects, 3 agricultural projects, and 3 forestry projects. There are 2 strategic cooperation projects, namely, the Black Blind Island Development Project and the Russian Island Development Project. The infrastructure projects mainly include 2 international transportation corridors, Binhai 1 and Binhai 2, and 4 cross-border infrastructure projects between China and Russia, namely, Tongjiang-Xiamenskoye Railway Bridge, Haya-Bragoveshinsk Highway Bridge, Doni-Portavka Highway Bridge, and Haya-Bragoveshinsk Cross-Border Cableway. 3 more complete coordination mechanism. The responsible departments for the outline are the National Development and Reform Commission of China and the Ministry of Regional Development of the Russian Federation, while the government departments responsible for implementing the plan are the Ministry of Commerce of China and the Ministry of Far East Development of the Russian Federation. The plan also decided to establish a council composed of relevant Chinese and Russian entrepreneurs within the framework of the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee for Northeast China and the Russian Far East and Baikal regions, aimed at promoting project implementation and making recommendations for improving the investment and business environment in the Russian Far East region. China Development Bank has not only participated in the formulation of the plan, but will also provide suggestions for its follow-up implementation. In addition, the plan lists the Russian Oriental Economic Forum and the China-Russia Expo as important platforms for China and Russia to jointly promote economic and trade cooperation in the Far East region. At the same time, it will pay more attention to the Chinese Investor Day event held by Russia in the Far East region, which aims to provide Chinese enterprises with the opportunity to have a direct dialogue with the Federal Deputy Prime Minister responsible for the development of the Russian Far East, timely communicate and seek solutions to issues arising from the investment process. The Memorandum of Understanding between the Ministry of Commerce of China and the Ministry of Development of the Far East of Russia on the establishment of representative offices of investment promotion agencies for each other was also signed along with the plan. For highlight the overall advantages of the Far East region in China-Russia economic and trade cooperation. Compared to the outline, the plan emphasizes the advantages of the Far East region in China-Russia economic and trade cooperation. First, resource advantages. According to the plan, Russia's Far East region is rich in resources, with diamond reserves accounting for 81% of the entire Asia-Pacific region, forest resources accounting for 51%, freshwater resources accounting for 37%, aquatic biological resources accounting for 33%, gold reserves accounting for 32%, natural gas reserves accounting for 27%, and oil reserves accounting for 17%. The forest resources are abundant, and the designed annual timber cutting volume is 93.8 million cubic meters. Currently, the cutting level is only 17.4%. Agricultural resources include 2.5 million hectares of arable land and more than 4 million hectares of pasture and grassland. Second, logistics advantages. The Far East region is an important component of the Eurasian Transportation Corridor and the starting point of the largest railway trunk line in Russia, the Siberian Grand Railway and the Baikal Railway. The Far East region has 29 seaports, among which large seaports such as Vladivostok, Nakotka, Dongfang, Benino, and Soviet ports account for 1/4 of the cargo throughput of Russian ports. The shortest route from Asia to Europe through the Arctic Ocean passes through the Far East. Currently, this route has certain competitiveness in the transportation of goods in Northeast Asia, and the traffic volume will increase to 80 million tons in 2024. Third, industry and project advantages. The Far East region has the largest aviation and shipbuilding center in Russia, as well as the largest natural gas and petrochemical cluster. Fourth, policy advantages. The Far East region provides investors with infrastructure construction support, tax incentives, and necessary administrative services through the establishment of advanced development zones and free ports. In the Advanced Development Zone, investors can enjoy the following preferential policies: reduction or exemption of enterprise profit tax, property tax, and land tax within the first 5 years of entering the enterprise, social security rates of 7.6%, the average rate in Russia is 30%, a 10-year preferential period for profit tax and mineral resource mining tax, the application of customs procedures in the free customs zone, the acceleration of the value-added tax refund process for export products, and the acceleration of the issuance of construction permits and project operation permits, shorten the National Environmental Protection Appraisal period, simplify the employment procedures for foreign citizens, adopt special protection mechanisms, and avoid unreasonable inspections by inspection. and supervision agencies. One window transit service and 24-hour port working system. The implementation of a free customs zone system allows enterprises in the zone to import, preserve, and use foreign goods duty-free, as well as to export goods, equipment, duty-free, improve service awareness, shorten the approval time of infrastructure project license documents, standardize the inspection of enterprises in the zone, reduce the corresponding burden on enterprises, and the management company has the right to safeguard the rights and interests of enterprises in the zone and bring lawsuits for them, implement preferential policies for insurance payment in 10. During the annual preferential period, a preferential social insurance payment rate of 7.6% will be implemented for settled enterprises, implement preferential tax policies, exempt enterprises from profit tax, property tax, and land tax for the first 5 years of entry, and quickly handle value-added tax refunds within 10 days. In addition, projects invested in the Republic of Sakha, Yakut, Chukchi Autonomous Region, Magadan Prefecture, Sakhalin Prefecture, and Kamchatka Border Region enjoy preferential electricity prices, and the electricity prices of investment projects are not higher than the average electricity prices in Russia. Fifth, institutional advantages. The corresponding development agencies in the Russian Far East provide most basic services for investors free of charge within the legal framework. The Far East Investment Attraction and Export Support Agency provides one-stop services for the entire cycle of investment projects and assists in the export of products. The Far East Human Resources Development Agency provides human resources introduction services. Far East Development Group provides land leasing and infrastructure connection services. 5 policies and measures aimed at Chinese investors are more constructive and inclusive. The plan specifically sets up constructive and inclusive policy measures for Chinese investors. First, if Chinese investors are implementing projects in the advanced development zone of the Russian Far East region and need to build specialized transportation, engineering, or other infrastructure, the Russian side will study the possibility of building corresponding infrastructure with state funding, provided that it does not violate Russian laws. The amount of state funding generally does not exceed 10% of the project investment amount. Under the conditions stipulated by Russian laws, Russian resources can be provided to investors free of charge for the construction of the infrastructure required for its project. If Chinese investors plan to build new projects in locations in the Far East that have not yet established advanced development zones, the Russian side will study the feasibility of expanding the boundaries of an existing advanced development zone or establishing a new advanced development zone. Secondly, the Russian side will provide supporting services to all projects implemented by Chinese investors in the Advanced Development Zone and Freeport in order to reduce project implementation risks and improve profitability. Third, provide services for Chinese investment projects through a unified information system, which is operated by the Far East Investment Attraction and Export Support Agency. Fourth, the Russian side will carefully consider the relevant suggestions made by Chinese investors to improve the investment environment and business development conditions of advanced development zones and free ports. Sixth, the content expression is pragmatic and reflects the principle of openness. In order to avoid the situation where many projects in the outline are difficult to advance on schedule, the plan is more pragmatic and realistic, and only 3 projects that are already under construction have been set a timetable. The Tongjiang-Zhanxiang-Ningxiki Railway Bridge will be fully operational in 2019. By 2020, the Heha-Blagoveshchensk Highway Bridge will be fully operational. In 2022, the Heha-Blagoveshchensk Cross-Border Cableway will be fully operational. For projects and intentions that require further consultation, the expression should be cautious, leaving room for further consultation. For example, the 2 sides will accelerate the preparation of the draft intergovernmental bridge construction agreement for the Dongming-Poltavka Highway Bridge, in view of the official signing of the in the memorandum on the joint development of the Binhai 1 and Binhai 2 international transportation corridors, both parties will fully implement the above-mentioned memorandum. The Russian side will encourage Chinese high-tech companies to actively explore the possibility of establishing headquarters or research and development institutions in the Russian island, and the Russian side will study supporting measures for Chinese and Russian high-tech startups to conduct business on the island. The 2 sides have formulated their own development plan for the Black Blind Island, and on this basis, they have discussed the docking of infrastructure construction on the island, including flood control and bank protection projects. In addition, the plan embodies the principle of openness, which stipulates, both parties can supplement and revise this plan upon consensus, and both parties will maintain close communication and coordination on signing other cooperation documents.